Wow. Yeah, good day and God bless you. How have you been? Happy New Month to you, by the way. It's a month of blessing, prosperity, progress in the name of Jesus. So, it's been a while. I came here to hold some live sessions, and I just felt I should speak about something very personal. Something very personal. I'm sure you can see it in the title of this live. Um, why I never dated anyone before I got married. uh, Start with, what's your definition of dating? What's your definition of dating? Let me hear your thoughts and opinion in the comment section. What's your definition of dating? And the reason why I'm asking, or why I want us to start this live session with this, is because um, I've um, I've come to notice that if we can properly define a thing, then we are going to know the essence of that thing. For example, uh, if I ask you, what's the definition of a food? Yes, I mean, we all eat. I'm sure you must have it for a minimum of 2 or 3 times today. So, what's the definition of a food? Let's assume you're in an exam hall, and one of the questions is define a food or define food. So, what is going to be your definition? So, in my own opinion, I would say food is anything that gives me nutrients and energy. Anything that nutrient and energy is a food. So, and um, if you look at everything that falls into the category of a food, and you notice that my definition is correct, because for anything to be a food, it must fall in these two categories. I mean, it must um, for anything to be a food, it must have those two attributes. Once you take it, it should be able to give you energy, physical energy. Then it should be able to give your body nutrients. So, by virtue of that definition, you would see that I've been able to define the purpose of a food. I've been able to define the purpose of a food. So, like I was saying, that I never dated anyone before I got married. My wife was the first woman I was in a relationship with, and she's the first person. So, uh, so and I'm here to share my experience why I never dated. So, I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. What's your definition of dating? And like I said, if maybe after going through your definition of dating, then from it I'll be able to get the meaning or the purpose of dating. Perhaps maybe after going through your definition or your opinion or your thoughts on dating, maybe I could have some regret that, oh, how I wish I had dated before getting married. But it's gone forever. But I'm also here to share my opinion, and perhaps you're probably currently dating. Maybe after listening to my opinion and thoughts, maybe you could have a rethink or a change of mind to see if it's really necessary, you know to spend most time in dating or not. So either of those two things should happen. Yeah, either of those two things should happen. So okay, so as I wait for your own definition, let me give you mine. Dating is a common practice, especially among young people or singles, And I believe it was fabricated because most singles and youths want to find love. One of the goals of dating is we want to find love. We want to be in love. We want to exchange love with the opposite sex. So, and then, but there's nothing wrong about that. We are social beings and we have the capacity to be loved and to love. But trying to go about that in the absence of God or against God's laid down principles for relationship and marriage, I think is where the fault comes from. So definition of dating. So dating is a practice among young people and singles, where you're trying to get someone that can love them, that can appreciate them, someone that they can be in an intimate relationship with, and they can start sharing things intimately, you know. Some people even take it deeper. Someone they can start going out with. Wow. So I think that is what most people call dating. But let me go further. Dating is defined as the period where by two acclaimed lovers are in undated relationship. It is a form of romantic relationship. That's a very key word. A form of romantic relationship, typically between two individuals, with the aim of establishing the other's suitability as a partner in an intimate relationship or as a spouse. So, based from this definition, one of the goals of dating is okay, two people come together, of course, the opposite sex, a young boy and a young girl, and they feel each other, especially sexually, and they felt okay, let's be in a relationship, and in the process, we're gonna see if we are both, compatible, and if you are suitable to be my partner, and vice versa. So that is obviously the definition of dating. So but to start with, uh, dating is like um let me define it like this. Dating is like the pregnancy stage that precedes delivery. So if a woman is not pregnant, she is not expected to go through delivery. Yes, she's not expected to go through labor and of course deliver a baby. So pregnancy prepares the pregnant lady or woman for labor and delivery. So, while going through the pregnancy stage, people, believe and expect that, okay, in the space of 9 months, this woman will put to bed. So, the phase of pregnancy prepares, a lady to become a mother. So dating is expected to prepare the two people in that relationship for marriage. But in my own opinion, if two singles are in a relationship that is meant to lead them to marriage, I prefer to call it courtship, and I have my reasons, because we have an example in the Bible, and that is Joseph and Mary. In the book of Matthew, chapter 1, the Bible told us that Mary was espoused to Joseph. Yes, betrothed to Joseph, and they were planning to get wedded. And then when we say courtship, there are a lot of ecclesiastical process that must be observed. So as a young man, you pray, you go to the man of God under whom the lady you are about to propose to is worshiping. Then you inform the pastor or whoever serves as a guide, that this is my opinion. I think I'm having this leading to this sister, that she could be my wife, and I've prayed, I've done this and that, and they tell you to go and give you an appointment later, and they call the lady also. Do you think anybody is coming close? Do you think you're ready for marriage? In a nutshell, the sister is also giving the room to pray, to seek the face of God. give a feedback. So most often after thorough prayers, both parties having never communicated, tell the pastor or the man of God the same that once that has happened, the man of God, set the ball of courtship rolling, and there's a form of announcement in the church, to make the members of the church or the body of Christ in that circle to know now this brother is now betrothed to this sister. So when you see them, you don't think something else is going on between them, because they are preparing to get you. But when it comes to dating, oftentimes superior figures are not carried along. It's just these two singles or young people, we feel attracted to each other. Most of the time they don't pray, they don't seek for advice, they just take that decision within themselves. And at times they start going out, they start doing a lot of things. Yes, many of them eventually get married, but in the long run, there's going to be a difference between those who carried, spiritual leaders, superior figures along, and those who just followed their emotions. So I said I never dated anyone before I got married. So why didn't I ever dated anyone before getting married? Is it because there was no lady for me to date? Is it because I was very shy? Is it because I didn't have the resources? So why didn't I have the experience of dating before getting married? So you want to hear my story? I'm going to share them with you. And of course, in the long run, I'm also going to give you the disadvantage I have, found out after some research, that everyone who dates may not escape, and some of these disadvantages have long life, a lifetime effect. Oh, excuse me, I'm feeling sleepy. I've got to do this. Okay, so the first reason why I never dated before I got married was because I got saved quite early when I was a teenager. I remembered I got saved at the age of 15. That was when I was in senior secondary school, class 1. We call it SS1 here in Nigeria. So, uh, that was when I got born again, gave my life to the Lord Jesus Christ. And of course, that changed the trajectory of my life. So, in fact, I could remember when I first gave my life to Christ. I didn't like to be around women at all, and I could remember one walking in the street then. I would lift up my eyes to the hills, because I just don't want to see anything ungodly. It was that tense and serious. So, of course, I had friends, I had colleagues, who were dating, we called it boyfriend and girlfriends, but I couldn't do that. Rather, I found myself preaching to my friends in school, telling them to stop having boyfriend and girlfriends. So there was no avenue for me to be in a dating with anyone. So, and then most of the things I did then was I got myself involved in spiritual activities. We did my Bible praying daily, evangelizing, even in school then. I remember going from one class to the other, going from one class to the other, and preaching to others about my salvation experience. So, and I got really involved in a lot of activities, even in church. Yes, I was in the choir, we were in the youth department. So that was the first reason why I dated before I got married. So I was so consumed and engrossed. I started following some, um we want to call them brothers in the Lord, who gave us spiritual discipleship books. That was where my reading culture started, especially reading spiritual books. I could remember some of the books I read then, books like What God Looks For in His Vessel, Zoe by What God Looks For in His Vessel by Brother Billy Akoni, Zoe by Kenneth Hagin, Believer's Authority, how to be led by the Holy Spirit or by the Spirit of God by Kenneth Hagin. I believe in visions, God's generals. Those were the books, that and we read them and read them. I go to my cousin brother, then we talk about the things of God. So this was how I was spending my teenage years, 15, 16, 17, like that. Yes, and it got to a point I started getting invitation, even as a brother, in the Lord. Yes, I was very zealous for the things of God. And so there was no space that a girlfriend or a date could just fit in. There was no space at all. The only space I had was about the things of God, the kingdom of God. And it was so interesting as at the age of 22, 23, just like if you listen to Dr. Miles Monroe's message, as at the age of 16, 17, 18, as a teenager, they pack all the young people in their country, the Bahamas. They were having a concert, so filled with the Holy Ghost. I was the same when I was a teenager. And then at the age of 2023, I was leading the youth in my church. We had a debut youth anniversary or concert that has never been held in my church. Invited our then national youth coordinator. I was so much consumed, so there was no space for a girlfriend or a date to fit in. All the space I had was already occupied by the things of God, activities here and there. So that was the first reason why I anyone. And of course, sometimes I felt intimidated because virtually even some of those who are older than me, they had you see them after the church service, then they pick themselves to boy and girl, and I had nobody to pick. I rarely had female friends. I could remember sometimes later when you know, a junior to me in school. She was the head girl after my set. When she saw that I had a Facebook account, she was like, "Eh, Boshola, you have a Facebook account? Hey, I can't believe what I'm saying. So you can have a Facebook account because I was that rigid. I was that rigid. But some of these things is making me to laugh. I was that rigid. So I was that rigid. I didn't just want to say anything apart from God, and then we are still surrounded by spiritual things. The zeal was so much. So uh in fact, it got a point that the young ladies in the church choir, because I was one of the leaders of the church choir, one of the executive members, they were scared of me because my face was not just, amiable. It was not friendly at all. So that was how I spent most of my teenage years, and then I got involved with my state youth programs. I started going to represent my church. In no time, I became one of the school members, executive members, and that was where I met my wife about 7 years ago, 7 or 8 years ago. So that was the first reason why I never dated anyone. I never dated anyone. And then the second reason why I never dated anyone is because I believe that dating, you know, uh, compels a man to lean on his own understanding. Dating compels a man to lean on his own understanding. And the Bible says, book of Proverbs 3, verse 5, that lean on, trust in, and be confident in the Lord with all your heart and mind, and do not rely on your own insight or understanding. One of the great dangers of dating is encourages you to lean on your weak, short-sighted, unreliable human understanding. Now, the documented account of creation in Genesis chapter 1 shows us clearly that God is futuristic in all he does. So Because when it comes to dating, you have to pick with your senses. You have to choose the opposite sex that you feel attracted to, and that is you leaning on your understanding. I've often said this: there are three differences between the way we see things and the way God sees things. The first is God sees the future. All we see is the now. God knows the past. All we know is the now. God sees the content of that opposite sex. All we see is the content and the body. From this three perspective, it shows that we are limited and short-sighted. We don't have all the full information. So now imagine someone that has about 20% information about something, and he went ahead to make a choice of a lifetime. That is what dating is, in my own opinion. Because dating, you are still very young in life, and you find yourself in a situation whereby you have to choose someone as the most intimate person to you. You call it your girlfriend, or your dear, or your honey, or your whatever. That opposite sex becomes the most intimate person to you, yet you don't have all the information you need to take that decision you're taking. Excuse me. Yeah, so you don't have all it takes to take that decision. Yes, you don't have all it takes, but you just felt, I'm feeling some, uh, especially as a young lady, it's a time in your life that, you know, you just want the endorsement of the opposite sex. You just want somebody to tell you you're beautiful, you're looking good, how are you today, what are you doing, this and that. It's such a time of your life that you want stuff like that. And for the men too, it's a time that you start noticing, uh, you know, I'm talking about being a teenager, 15 years, 16, 17 years. It's a time you start noticing that your, contemporaries who are females, start saying, wow, they're beautiful. It look nice hanging around them, all those things start showing up. So the temptation is really there, and it's quite natural. But like I said, there are things you need to know, that should guide your decision at this time of your life. So the first reason why I don't subscribe to dating is because it compels you to lean on your own understanding, because you find yourself making a decision, perhaps a lifetime decision based on a very limited information, as at that time of your life you most likely still schooling, still unemployed, still under the tutelage of your parent, probably still spiritually mature, and you see yourself taking a decision that you need, to have acquired, if not all, maximum of most of these things before taking a decision. Like we said earlier, dating is meant to prepare you for marriage. So in the first place, you see that most young people are dating, and yet they are not. In the next 7, 10 years, they are not ready for marriage. So the question is, what happens while you are waiting? So you know to me that shouldn't be, because being in a relationship with opposite sex is quite pricey and costly. It's going to cost you your time, it's going to cost you your attention. You notice that your attention is always divided, you know because you have to spend money, you have to speak to each other daily, you have to, you have to, it's as if you are in a mini marriage. The only difference is you are not living alone, and you shouldn't be having anything intimate together. But every other thing married couples do is call themselves, take themselves out. You do them, and those things are money intensive. They are pricey, so they cost a fortune. So why go through all those things when you know you're not ready for marriage? So that's the first reason, in my own opinion, why I don't subscribe to dating. So I would rather prefer to wait for the right time to seek the face of God, and the Lord shows me, okay, this is the young lady I have for you, than for me to choose for myself. So uh, it's dangerous to take a permanent decision based on temporary reasons, and this is what happened most of the time in dating. So um, So when you make permanent decisions or choices based on temporary reasons, you will regret it in the long run. And the reason is because your taste and desire changes as you grow and mature in life. You remember when we were, much younger, the things we desire, biscuits, ice creams, candies. Those were the things we love and desire. But it got to a time where we grew up. For example, now as matured as I am, just imagine I'm caught crying, and they ask me why am I crying. I say because of biscuits. That's why I'm crying. I mean, you would say something was wrong with me. So, but there was a point in my life when I was still probably 2 years, 3 years, that I'll cry to get those things. I'll cry and making my parents get me those things. So, but because I have grown over some 27 years, what used to be my greatest desire, that I could even cry and shed tears just to persuade my parents to have them, now is the least of what I would even desire. Yes, if any of my children are eating candy or chocolates, if I take it from them, I mean, it's going to taste sweet in my taste bud. But that is not if I really want to eat something as an adult. I would rather prefer something else than those things. So this in the same vein, that's the way it is when it comes to relationship. In relationship, when you are in your teenage years, in your early 20s, there are some things that are so important to you that you esteem so much. But in the next 10, 20 years, when you look back, you just wonder why you acted that way. And that is one of the reasons why you dating during that time, because you don't have all the information about life. Your priorities are most likely not the right things. Yes, it all happens to everyone. So that is why, even if you be taking a relationship related decision during those time, you should take it after reading books, gathering experience from veterans who are relationship and marriage counselors, seeking counsel and guidance from the spiritual people that surround your life. You should leverage on those factors to take those decisions. But if you are just being pushed by your hormones, your emotions, because from the age of I think 16 to I guess 25 or 30 is when an average man and woman have their emotions at the highest peak. So those times your hormones, your testosterone and estrogen really desire to for you to be bonded, especially in the relationship with the opposite sex. Yes, so it's a strong desire that you need knowledge to navigate through. So that it was the first reason why personally I never dated anyone when I was quite younger. Now, um, the second reason, which will be the last for tonight, so let me know in the comment section if you want us to continue the discussion. Then, of course, I will come here for another live session to continue. So, the second reason why I never dated anyone when I was single was because, based on the research I made, dating has the capacity to make you lose your trust in people. Dating have the capacity to make you lose your trust in people. Statistically, 5% of dating ends in premarital sex. This is based on statistics now. You can Google search these. 75% of dating ends in premarital sex. Now, after which the relationship breaks up. So usually the guy is still caring, is loving, is enduring, has patience when he has not had sex with you, when he has not slept with you. Immediately he sleeps with you, you know, it's as if everything he has gotten hold of them, he has seen the tide gift, Yeah, so you're no longer valuable or precious in sight. After all, I've slept with you, I've seen your nakedness. I mean, I don't even know you are not. So this is everything you have been covering, So once he has gotten what he's looking for, the guy, he just starts behaving somehow. So this experience usually leaves the ladies especially shattered, cheated, and used. So the breakup is always more heartbroken when the lady or guy remembers all the past moments shared together, and all the pet and romantic names they have both called themselves in the course of the relationship. So we have many of these names here. So after being called all those endless names and the relationship crashes, you would have learned so many lessons as a result of your broken heart, some of which are, you know, cheating, disappointment, hatred, complications, etc. All these negative lessons will not permit you to trust your because you will always think that all men or women are the same. So you remember your previous partner used you and dumped you. So what I'm trying to say is this: when in your first dating, you notice that the guy is very caring, doing everything just to make you happy, and as he does those things, as he spends on you, your resistance, is getting more weakened. The ability for you to say no to him sexually when he demands for sex is gradually reducing the more he is caring to you. So he gets to the point to say, do you love me? You said, why not? I love you. And he says, okay, if you love me, then give me sex, let me have a feel of you, I love you so much. And you're like, no, 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 no. How does love translate to sex? But he says, if truly you love me, then you give me sex. And I've said this: love and sex are never related. If love and sex were related, then prostitutes would be the most loving people in the world, but they have the highest number of suicide rates in the world. So, but because this guy has been buying stuff for you, he takes you out on the dates to, the restaurants, buy stuff for you, sends you money, and he gives you money to take care of yourself, to look good. Something we're going to tell you that if you are not an ingrate, you should be able to give him your most precious gift, which is your virginity or your body. So, and this guy keep pestering you and saying you don't love me, you're denying. If you love me, it's nothing. Just let me have a taste of it. I love you so much. And most ladies don't know that men are visual beings, and the desire, the urge to have a sexual release is you an average woman may not even understand how that desire drives a man. Yes, because you're an average woman, you're an emotional being. You just want somebody that you prefer to be in a relationship with, someone that will just cuddle you, just pet you, just peck you, yeah. But an average man cannot continually experience that without exploding sexually. The more he does that, the more he finds it out to resist having a sexual intercourse with the lady he does that with. So, but because unfortunately most ladies think the way they are wired is the way a man is wired, because a woman can be in a relationship with a man for 20 years, you know and she's fine, they just going up and down, he taking care of she is fine. But a man, in fact, a week, especially if the lady is the type that doesn't dress well, because he's a visual being, what a man sees, stimulates him sexually. The more he sees the way you are, your sexy body, a lot is going on in his brain that you cannot imagine. You don't even understand the way it works. So when that start happening, he says, I've invested in you, I send you money, I've been taking care of you. If you are not an ingrate, just show me you love me by giving me sex. That is the wrongest thing anybody could ask for. To tell you that love and sex are the same, it is never the same. So, and then you get to a point that you just felt, okay, just for me to show you I love you, then you give away your most precious gift in life, your virginity. There's this controversial social media influencer, Reno Omokri, calls himself a gospeler. Truth of the matter is quite intelligent, and he's a researcher and an historian. And he has written many posts that it is be foolish of any man to pay a dowry on a woman that is not a virgin, because that is what you're actually paying a dowry for. In fact, he even said in some of his posts that if a woman is not a virgin, she should be the one to pay the dowry of the man. So the reason why a man should bring a bride price, and that is actually biblical, is because you are still a virgin. So, but most ladies don't even know this. So they just feel, okay, because of what you have been doing, and at least you've shown that you truly love me. Oh, that's one of the greatest mistakes ladies make. A man can do anything just to have. He can do anything. I mean, when I say anything, just mark my word. And after having that taste with you, that's the head. You'll be surprised the way he can treat you. I mean, we have, we have different, experiences and histories in the past that have happened. Yes, a man can do anything, can go to any length to show how caring he is, just to see your nakedness and sleep with you. Yes, the way men are wired. That is why, if you're a young lady, if you're a lady and you stumble on this video, please, and you're still single, even if you're married, go to AI and ChatGPT, or even if you're on your WhatsApp that says ask her anything, just write, give me a breakdown of a man's sexual drive or wiring. So an average man, matured adult man, if possible, just want to have sex every day, just for the fun and the feeling that sex gives when one engages in it, especially as a man. But as a woman, you want to have sex because you are bonded and connected to a man, and that bonding takes time. It's your means of expressing the fact that you are secured and your soul is connected to the man. That is why you as a woman want to have sex. But for a man, you just want to have the sex just to have a sexual release. And let me explain that sexual release to you as a woman. For example, if uh, you are pressed, let's say, as you want to urinate, your bladder is full, maybe, but you're somewhere you don't have the time. The way, you are so pressed, you're feeling like, I need to visit the toilet just to ease myself. Immediately you ease yourself, that feeling you have in your body, that feeling of freedom, but men's own is accompanied with a pleasure that could not be adequately defined. So when a man has sex or ejaculate, there's a pleasure that accompanies it, that, yes, very succinct, it happens within that time, but it's just something that it has a lot of good feeling for a man. So this is why, for an average man to experience that feeling, you know he doesn't mind to sleep with someone he has never met, and after that encounter will never meet. And that is why men patronize prostitutes. I mean, just for you to understand what it means for a man does not have to love a lady or a woman before he has sex with him. Now, I'm never advocating for. I'm just explaining something here. I'm explaining the way men are, just to tell you, lady, the extent. Don't ever think a man going, to any extent, or caring. Don't ever think, no, for him to have done all this thing shows he love me. No, no, that is just the way a man is, because sex is so important. Average man, he could do anything that he has the capacity to do, especially if you are attracted to him as a young lady. If you are attracted to him, uh what am I trying to say? So when you as an average lady, when you see a guy very caring, spends on you, does everything, and you got a point, you are just lost. You can't stop thinking about him. You feel safe in his hands, but before you know it, he start pressurizing you and say, if you truly love me, if you're not an egoist,
just once, just give me the sex. And after that time it changes. After all, you are seen it all, so this is everything you are keeping. It changes so much treating you, and you're like, this is the person that have taken my pride, my virginity. So you start running after him, you start calling him. At times if he shows up, he says, let's have that sex again. At least we are going to get married. And you keep giving him with the hope that okay, we love you, we stay. Immediately a man finishes having sex, there's literally no connection between him. So I'm not talking about married people now. The burden he has released it, and it's just normal. And he has no, there's no, there's no sexual attraction again after immediately a man has released, has experienced, had sex. That sexual connection is dead at that moment, no matter bit, because I mean they built up, pressure, everything has been released. you know there's not He's not attracted to you again. That was why there's a story in the Bible about Amnon and Tamar. Ammon is King David's first son, and Tamar is one of King David's daughter. And because Tamar was extremely beautiful, Ammon began to fall sick. He wanted to have a carnal knowledge. He wanted to sleep with Tamar. And Jonadab, his friend, why are you sick? You're a prince. Said, I love my half sister. I I don't know what to do to just have that sex with her once. I can't wait. I'm dying. Then he said, oh, come on, that's why you have me here. He said, tell the king that, of course you are sick. She should come and serve you. And when she came, he ordered her to get out, and he raped her. Tamar wept. She was Absalom's sister. And, but what pained her the most was immediately Amon slept with her. All the pressure that caused him to fall sick. Ha, ladies. Oh, if you ever think, there's a young lady, in our church recently, about 2 months ago, that came to me and said, "This guy loves me, and I think I love feelings for him." I look at that lady, I pity that. Are you all right? This guy is, I think, 12 years older than her. And this is just a young girl in the university, and she was, you ladies, you are a very emotional being. When small care, you think, you have seen your Father Christmas, someone that loves you. Oh, eh, just to see your nakedness, a man can do anything. Yes, and that's why, if a man truly loves you, tell him to wait till your wedding night. This thing I'm explaining is the reason why most ladies, even who are married now, don't trust their husband, because they keep flashing back to their first date and said, I don't know the name of their first date. Maybe Michael, maybe Owen, maybe Alessandra. Said this was also how he showed me so much love, but eventually he broke my heart after taking my virginity. So when the God, given partner that God has ordained for such lady now comes and is, loving, caring, she begin to find fault. She find it difficult to trust even after the marriage. She'll still be like, this first guy, she wouldn't know that the first guy did everything, he did, so that she could lower her guard, and so that he could, have that kind of knowledge with her. But this second person has come to settle down with you, but because of that first experience, you find it difficult to trust the second person. These are some of the reasons why, you know, I I didn't, subscribe to dating when I was young. And now I want you to be truthful. Let me hear your thought in the comment section. Um, if you've ever dated, or if you've been in dating, if you're still single, and you've been dating since you're a teenager, maybe for 15, 16, tell me the truth. Um, how many dating have you had? I mean, how many people have you dated? Because I'm very sure it's rare for you to just date one person. Because, and what are the experiences you have had? Yes, what are the experiences you have had? The first person you dated, didn't he ask for sex? And when he asked, did you give it? What eventually happened? So you see this happening to a lot of people out there, you know after dating. Then and the guy is fed up of using them. The guy drops them and goes to the next virgin, next victim to repeat the same thing. So, but it's unfortunate that most of the time, uh, the ladies are the victims. So, and at times after breaking up with in the first relationship of dating, another guy comes and says, "Okay, let me give it a try." Yeah, the guy also repeat the same thing, third, fourth, and that's how some people enter into prostitution. And and for those who stop maybe after the first or second, when their God-given husband comes and they eventually settle down and get married, they'll be very suspicious. Why? Because of the first experience they had. Now, justifiably, for someone who never dated, his trust is still intact. One of the things I'm going to talk about maybe in the next time is, some ladies on social media, they complain about the size of their husband's, private part, and something, comes to your mind. If the first time you ate a food was the first time ever, there will be nothing else you want to compare it with. The reason why an average lady or most ladies who complain and says their husband have a small genital or private part is because they have tasted different sizes. Yes, so it's not difficult for a man, a single man, to satisfy them because they have had different experiences. If your husband is the one that is virgin, your husband, you will never have any ground to compare his genital with any man because you have never seen any other man's one. But when you have seen different sizes, and now maybe Nemesis is now catching up on you, this man you now eventually settle down with, and those guys sleeping with you, they use different things. Some of them go on drugs to get a bigger genitals, and some of them, they are not responsible. They don't have a family they are running. They don't have kids. But here is a man that is saying that I have kids, that goes to work, and all these things affect our sexual life too. So, but you keep having a flashback of how the guy who is not a father, who has no responsibility, who was probably a foster, was rough handling you sexually, and you are not expecting a responsible man, who has an hectic schedule, to rough handle you like that. So once he can't do that, you begin to compare him with that, and you say he is not satisfying you. Can you see the dangers of dating? So I'm going to stop here tonight. You cannot get a godly result by applying a worldly principle. So these are the two reasons, not all, the first two reasons why I never dated anyone before I got married, because I don't want to have a case whereby I will have to be comparing the way my wife does, or or anything in her body to someone else. Because if I had those experiences, there will be grounds for comparison. But since she's the first woman, there's nothing I'm going to compare. Everything we do together, we are both satisfied. So this and many more are part of the reasons why I never dated anyone. So by the grace of God, I'll continue from here, probably tomorrow or some other time. So let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. Have you been dating before? What's your experience with dating? You know, so let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you very much for joining in. Don't forget to subscribe. I'm Pastor Cholo Bademi. There are many messages here on this platform that will be of blessing to you. Yes, that will be a blessing to you. So thank you very much, and God bless you. Bye for now.